Hello, time again for another Lunch for the Soul. Welcome, everybody. I'm so happy you're here. Ooh, do I have a great guest to introduce you today? You're going to be inspired. I might get you to dance and sing with us a little bit. Who knows what's going to happen? Let's find out and bring in Kia Aron. Hello, welcome to Lunch for
Hello.
the Soul.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
You are so talented, and I'm so
Thank you.
happy you're joining us here to share your journey because it's been quite a journey. Let's just start from the very beginning of how music came into your life, and then for anybody who joins me on Lunch for the Soul, you all know it typically, it most of the time, I would say 98% of the time, I will interview somebody who's had a lot of medical drama, but they got out on the other side brilliantly because of their faith. So we'll get there. You got to wait for that. But first, let's talk about your job. What a neat job. You're a worship artist. How did it all begin for you?
Yes. Um, I was born here in the U.S. in Baytown,
Uh-huh.
Texas, actually, and was raised in Trinidad for a little bit. Came back to the U.S. and my mom's husband, his parents are pastors. So my grandparents basically had a storefront church, and I had watched Sister Act 2. And
Uh-huh.
my sister's a phenomenal singer, my mom's a phenomenal singer, and my uncle, and no one knew I could sing. I was about 8 years old. Came across Sister Act 2 and the Oh Happy Day. And then I was singing in the shower. And my showers became concerts, which was like, hey, you should sing at church. So a few weeks
Oh,
later, I was
goodness.
leading worship at my church.
That is such a cool way to do it. Could you tell that you had pipes? Did you know you sounded good when you were little?
I think the shower makes everyone sound good.
There's something about that echo and the acoustics, right?
Yes.
Oh, I love it. Now, so what you've done is so you were at a Spanish-speaking church then when you were singing?
So that was a Caribbean church.
Uh-huh,
It was really
Caribbean.
just a
Okay.
Caribbean church, and it wasn't until high school I came
Mm.
across a bilingual church that I was able to learn Spanish. My pastors didn't speak English, so I had to learn Spanish to communicate with them, and then I learned how to lead worship in two languages, and it was super frustrating at first, but then once I started just walking in, it became second nature.
Yeah. Well, I want to show everybody what your life is like on stage. I mean, it looks really like such a fulfilling career. What does it mean to you to be able to lead people through ministry and through your music?
Yeah, it really means it's special because I'm able to create a space and partner in a space where people can experience the love of God, the presence of
Mhm.
God, like I got to at a young age. I remember even at 8 years old, just not having dad around a whole lot. And so being in the presence of God, I got to like experience the love of the Father in a really cool way. And I think me being able to lead worship, I get to create a space where others can experience that love as well. And it's the best thing in the world.
Yeah, that is a powerful combo there right now. So let's talk about your music. So you've been able to blend all different types of music to make really your own sound, right? Tell me
Yes,
about
ma'am.
that and how you've done that.
Yes. So when I upbringing was super Caribbean,
Mhm.
and then gospel, got to kind of just learn some gospel,
Yeah.
and then being able to go to the bilingual church, I got to experience kind of CCM,
Mhm.
and I love pop music. So being able to just get with some of my friends, my music director I went to high school with, and so we've known each other for a long time. So as we're writing music, we're able to just kind of blend what we love to create a sound that feels like me, but also I like feel good music, and I think that's kind of like just grabbing the feel good elements from every single genre and creating something really cool where we can just all have a really good moment together.
And what touches my heart so much is while you've blended all of those sounds, it all comes back to God, right? And
Yes.
that's what you're trying to teach people through your lyrics.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
That's meaningful. How what does it mean to you to be on that stage and to see people really starting to get it when they're listening to your music?
Yeah, I think it's one thing that I tell people is that me being able to write songs and hear people singing with me, I want to write songs that give language to others are feeling and
Mhm.
experiencing, and that's what songwriting is. It's being able to articulate what you're feeling in a moment of your life, and,
Mhm.
and create words and sounds that kind of like soul music, you know. And
Yeah.
so being able to create a space where others can join in that song, we're all like going through things and experiencing life, and it's like, okay, in those moments, being able to lead worship doesn't make me better than anyone. We're just doing it together, and I'm
Yeah.
honored to even be able to just be at the forefront at times, and that's it means a lot. Like it means it's one of those things where it's like we all get an opportunity to overcome. We can either cower and allow life to drag us a little bit, or we
Mhm.
can look up to the Lord for where our help comes from, and joining in our song and joining our faith in the room. It's special. It's the best thing
Well,
in the world.
you speak of those things we go through, and we're going to get to your things in just a second. But
Yeah,
first of all, I want to talk about your background of your faith
yeah.
because you're beautiful, Mom. I love this
Thank
photo
you.
so much. It sounds like that faith was deep rooted from the beginning from your family, right? I
Yes,
think it's so
yes,
much easier sometimes when it that happens because it almost just falls naturally into your lap, right? And I think it's so
yeah.
interesting if people get it from all different ways at all different stages in life, but that was your whole life.
Yeah. Absolutely. My mom has been just an inspiration for me. She's one of the sweetest people I've ever met. One of the biggest givers I've ever experienced. She's still giving to me. Like today, we talked on the phone, and she's like, she always finds ways to give back to us and those around us for community. And even in our faith, just always praying for us and reminding us that, hey, God's with you. If God, marry God's imagination, and you can see yourself um, out of the situation, like you can see yourself further than where you are today. You can achieve it, and she's just really been an anchor for me and a pillar, truly.
Such a blessing to have that as to especially with some medical stuff that you went through. So let's get into that now. So you were diagnosed with ulcerative colitis, which I can imagine being a very difficult diagnosis for somebody who's on stage all the time. And then not long after that, stage 4 liver cirrhosis.
Yeah.
There's no cure for either of those, which had to be even scarier, I'm sure, for doctors to tell you. What symptoms were you having? I know some of it may be personal, but what do you feel comfortable saying that made you get to the doctor and get those diagnoses?
Yeah, so this was back in 2016. I
Mhm.
was an athlete. I played basketball, played football. So I was playing ball, and I got home that day, and I felt like I just felt like I had a stomach virus.
Mhm.
So I kind of brushed it off. I was like, okay, I have diarrhea. I'm gonna be okay. We're gonna be fine. We're
Yeah.
gonna be back on the court tomorrow, and it kind of turned into like a week of
Mm.
just going to the bathroom a lot and appetite. I didn't have an appetite, and next thing you know, that I did go to the doctor and the ER. I'm sorry, and they just kind of gave me medication like antibiotics. We thought it was a stomach virus, and I a week turned into three into like a month. I lost 40 pounds that month,
Um,
and it was one of those moments where I got really scared. I started kind of just just passing just blood and stuff like that, things that just alarming. And I remember talking to mom about it, and um, it scared me a lot. So we went and saw a doctor, saw a GI doctor, got a referral, and they did the endoscopy and colonoscopy, and they found that I had ulcerative colitis. And I remember the doctor telling me, he said, "Key, this is going to change your life. You're going to have to change your diet, all these different things, but you're going to have to be on medication." And
mhm.
sometimes it takes people a lot of tries um, to get a medication that you can have even cope with this. And I failed 5 medications in the past 7 years, and it was a bit discouraging at moments,
Mhm.
because we try to find the cure, and not a cure. I'm sorry, something to just cope with it, to just
Well,
ease some of the
sure. Something
symptoms.
that would make you comfortable and stop the symptoms, right?
That's right. That's right.
Oh, goodness. So you finally found something?
Right. Okay. So I found something. I found something that's working really well.
Good, good,
It's Rinvoke, and it's been super helpful. I have an
good.
incredible team at Houston Methodist in the down in the medical center, and
Mhm.
I have a great team. And we've gone through a journey of finding that team that can kind of
Yeah.
just we felt like that would take care of us. And today I feel like, and it's great. It's great because it shows me that the Lord's with me. Because He'll
Mhm.
sometimes, like, He'll just put the right people in your way and in
Yeah,
your
of course.
path to kind of help you get to where you need to be. And it's been super helpful.
Well, that's a big and difficult diagnosis, but on top of that, then you've got the cirrhosis diagnosis. When did that
Yeah,
come along? And did your
yeah.
symptoms change to make you go back and question them?
So in 2020, we're all kind of going through stuff, and
Oh,
that
yeah.
year I went to the hospital 6 times,
Oh my
and it
goodness.
was really difficult because it was like a week each time I was going. It was stress is a big trigger, and at that time I was yeah, it was a rough time for us, and we were failing medications, and so they would see me and would try to get me out of the flare ups, and one time they said that my liver enzymes, my levels were high, elevated, and they were like, "That's kind of different." But they knew that PSC, I'm gonna butcher it, pulmonary sclerotic laryngitis, I believe is what it is. It attacks the liver as well as the colon, and that's what you see that kind of comes along with it a lot. And
Mhm,
it had been in my lower bile ducts in my liver, so they couldn't catch it with the scans
mhm,
throughout the years. And by the time they caught it, it had been to a point where it gotten to a point where it was like, oh, this is pretty bad. And so to answer your question, the symptoms, I didn't notice anything other than like a lot of itching and just fatigue.
mhm,
And I thought it was just a flare up. So I kind of
yeah,
gotten used to being in a flare up and not feeling well. So I didn't really notice too much outside of
mhm,
what was already
mhm.
happening. But then I got a call from my doctor after doing they went down one of the main veins and they go in and they do a biopsy. Scared the fire out of me.
Oh,
And
wow.
and actually I wrote a song that night before, and we could talk about that in a little bit, but just where the Lord met me the night before and just kind of helped me have peace. And then I got the news that it was stage 4, and it was scary. You Google everything, we shouldn't do that,
Oh,
but
you need to stay off of Doctor Google. That's a dangerous road to go down. Don't do it.
but it
Because
was
you
a
are
bit
not a
scary.
stat.
Yes, yes. So,
So
yes,
what's your
ma'am.
treatment for that?
So I'm on a I'm on a pill that I take every day, and
Mhm,
basically it just kind of helps preserve. And I get monitored. I have 2 appointments every year, with the specialist, and
mhm,
just to make sure I don't have to be on a transplant list. That was
mhm.
a conversation that we had, that year as well. I was like, "What's going on?" It was
Make it
like
stop. It's like, "I'm
crazy,
leading a good life here. Leave me alone and quit
you know.
attacking my body."
It
I'm
was
so
wild.
thankful that you had music, though. I know that you even wrote some music in your hospital room, but
Yeah.
let's go back to that song you mentioned. So,
Yes.
how did that come about, and how did it bring you peace?
Okay. So the I'll tell you. Before even that, I had gotten a because I really feel like my songs are a conversation I've been having with the Lord, this entire journey, and I wrote a song called "Every Promise," back in 2016, the day after I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis, and 3 days prior, I got a phone call from a friend of mine's mom, who's gone to be with the Lord now. But she's one of those like praying mamas who would call you randomly and say, "I feel like the Lord says this. He said this," and it'd be like dead on. I didn't tell anyone I was sick outside of my mom, and she called and said, "Hey, the Lord says you're not going to have this forever." And I just feel like that was a promise from heaven. And just in line up to the scriptures, God talks about him being a healer. He talks about being, not withholding any good thing from those that he loves. And it says that by his stripes we are healed. So I just wrote a song that every promise that just says, "I believe you are who you say you are." My favorite characteristic of the Lord is his faithfulness.
Mhm.
Because I didn't have dad, so like whenever I started experiencing the love of God, I started to realize that he embodies faithfulness, and that
Oh, yeah.
rocks my life, So this happened, and I was laying down in bed. I remember like it being a hard night, and I remember just kind of writing the lyrics like, "I don't know how or when you do it. In the midst of this, you'll prove it. You're the God who's more than able, proving yet again that you're faithful." And I wrote that line,
Mhm,
and I
mhm,
just remember kind of just being in bed, and tears flowing, and just feeling the peace of God fill my room. And
mhm,
one thing that I've noticed this entire journey, it's been rough, but I've experienced the faithfulness of God, and I've experienced his peace, and I've never felt alone. And I think that's been extremely amazing, because God
mhm.
doesn't promise us a smooth life, but he promises to be there. And that's been rocking my world a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so important for people to hear that. And thank you for sharing that because a lot of times you'll say, well, God wouldn't make that happen in your life. Well, he doesn't, but he can be there for you
Yeah.
when you're going
Yeah.
through it, right? And
Yes,
it's
ma'am.
such a blessing. I want to talk more about your music and you're lying there and you're going through a really hard time and you've got these lyrics. How do you turn those lyrics then into a tune? Is that sound coming to you the whole time that you're writing, or do you work with your team on that? How does that end up becoming a song that touches our lives?
Yeah. Sorry, a little emotional. um, I think that's like a really cool thing that the Lord's given me, like the gift to be able to. I don't play an instrument, but I can hear everything. I can hear
Mhm.
instruments and
Mhm.
tones and notes and melodies, and I consider myself like a melody guy. Even over a lyricist, like I'm learning how to write even more today, even more. Like I'm becoming a better songwriter. But I feel like if like sometimes we don't have words, God will give us a melody, and sometimes I'm able to just put words to that melody and it be exactly what my heart's feeling in that moment. If I can describe that but in a not weird way. But
Yeah, it's
that's
beautifully
that's kind of how
stated.
they come. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll get like a chorus or like a phrase,
Mhm.
and then melodies come easier to me. So if I get a line or I'm inspired, I get a line, then the melody kind of follows and
Mhm.
becomes something.
Well, we only have to wait, what, 3 months for your music to drop? I'm ready
Yes.
for that. So it's called Anything Can Happen. It sounds like that really tells your life story.
Yes, ma'am. It's and that's what I want people to experience, because I feel like anything can happen. Like, when he walks into the room, that's the line. It's anything can happen when he walks into the room. And if God promises to be there with us, then at any moment he can change the situation. If he doesn't change the situation, he'll change you in the middle of it. And really just living a life that's, like I said earlier, my mom instilled into me just marrying God's imagination. Like, we came from his imagination, and so it's imagination is not a bad thing, especially if it's rooted in faith, and we can see ourselves further than where we are today, and see ourselves
Mhm,
better. And he may not change the
mhm.
situation every time, but he'll change us, and we'll be better because of it.
If you had to tell somebody, "Hey, listen to this piece of music,"
Yeah,
what are you hoping that they tell you? What do you wanna hear from them? What is your goal?
my goal is that people would forget in a moment that they were broken, and they would experience hope. Um, Yeah, I want my music to create spaces where people can experience the love of God and hope for better. A lot of times our situation will invite us to a mindset or to feel hopeless. And I was having dinner with a friend of mine last night, and I said, I felt hopeless at times, um, but I've never had to truly believe I was hopeless, because hope was always with me. So
Mhm.
our feelings are fleeting, but we know we're not hopeless because Jesus is with us. And I want my music to inspire and remind people of that very truth.
I just love seeing you perform, and we see you all over the place. So tell me about, are you where do you find your venues where you go, and where can
Yeah.
people find you to listen?
So right now I'm at a church called Faith Family Church in Baytown, Texas. I've been there for 5 years. It's been such an incredible time getting to just have strong leadership. My pastors, Pastor Johnson, Pastor Kara, and then I've been able to go to White Oak here in Houston. I'll
Nice.
be at Rockefellers at here in Houston in July, and we do like a pre-listening party on the 7th of July. But also, yeah, I got tour schedules and things on my website, and we get to travel quite a bit in Latin America, here in the U.S. as well. It's been special.
I'm gonna put your name on the screen right now so everybody can see Kieran and how to
Awesome.
spell it. How do they find
Yes.
you and find your schedule of where you'll be?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram at Kieran Music. As well, I'm on Facebook as Kieran
Uh-huh.
Music, and my website, I believe, is kieranmusic.com. I try to keep it simple all across
Yeah,
the board.
that's the way to do it right there. Make
Yes,
sure
ma'am.
people can find you and make sure
Yes,
it's nice and mainstream there.
yes,
So
ma'am.
it's off really awkward to ask a musician because I know that you all have to really warm up your pipes and get
Yeah.
ready. Is there any way you could sing a line or two for us, or is that just way too awkward without your band or anything else?
I definitely can. I
You
definitely
can?
can.
Oh, some people
Yes.
say, "No way, not gonna happen." And you're one of them who says, "I'm all in."
Let's go.
Show us what you've got.
Okay, I'm gonna sing that song that, uh, um, a song that we just mentioned.
Yes, okay, that's
It's called "He'll
perfect.
Do It."
That's
Um,
perfect.
so the chorus goes, I don't know how or when he'll do it. In the midst of this, he'll prove it. He's the God who's more than able, proving yet again. He's faithful. He's faithful, yes.
Oh, please don't stop ever.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank
wow,
you.
you are so talented, and to think that was a little boy who started singing in the shower, and look at where you've come today. As a
Uh,
boy mom, I'm proud of you, kiddo.
Thank you so much for that. I
That's
appreciate that.
amazing. That was so beautiful,
Thank
and
you.
I can tell truly written from your heart. Isn't it more fun, I would think, and meaningful when you sing your own songs because you don't have to think, "What are these lyrics about?" You wrote them, right? They're
100%.
your heart.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I could really tell that when you sang that.
Thank you.
Okay, I can't think straight now, which is beautiful. You are so talented.
I
Well, we can't wait
appreciate
for
that.
your music, new music
Thank
in
you.
September. Meanwhile, we will
Thank you.
hopefully all be following you on social media. Good luck with all you're doing and keeping up the just the positive spirit. And I really hope that you only have good health from now on. I'm glad you figured out how to treat it, and I hope that you'll be able to continue to do that comfortably.
I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. And thank you
All
so much
right.
for having me.
Well, you are a bright light in this world, so thank you
Thank you.
again. Take care of
As are
you.
you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Big hugs. I just want to remind you all to join me here every Wednesday, 12:30. This is a place to be for Lunch for the Soul. You can always go to our Fox local app. It's a super easy way to watch all of our live streams, and you can watch every Lunch for the Soul I've ever done. So I hope you'll consider doing that. And then Wednesdays, 12:30, you can always find us on fox26houston.com, or you can, again, go to the Fox local app. You can also go on your smartphone to our Fox 26 app. You name it, we're going to make sure that you can watch it. I love having you here. Thank you again for being here. If you want to reach out to me, find me on our Fox 26 website. You can email me, and I'd love to feature you as well. Have a beautiful day.